The Last of Us Part 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. The entire franchise in general inspires me, and it shows everyone what games can be when you take them seriously. So when the Last of Us TV show debuted in 2023, I was super excited. I was so happy that this game could finally be shared with everyone in my life who didn't play video games, and they all loved it. Season 1 was a masterful balance that showed us that source material from games could be adapted to the screen. Hey everyone, videos to eat to here, cutting in just to ask you to please subscribe. 25% of you aren't subscribed, and I want to keep making these top 10 videos, so please go ahead and subscribe. Thank you. Was it perfect? No. But was it just enough to show us that, hey, they cared about the product 100%? So it's with great disappointment that I say Last of Us Season 2 is not a flawed masterpiece, but flawed in general. Unlike the game, which is this fascinating experiment, Season 2 of The Last of Us on HBO crumbles under the weight of its own ambitions. The changes they make are shocking. The storylines are shocking. I am so just surprised that they even let this come out in this state. I have no idea what happened in that writer's room, but it's clear to me that either the success of Season 1 went to the creators' heads, or they simply ran out of time to tell a cohesive story. We can start straight from the get-go, so there's going to be spoilers for both the show and the video game Last of Us 2. Joel's death. It lacked that devastation that we felt when playing the game. The way they portrayed it in the show was absolutely disgusting. There was no depth or nuance, it just happened. We humanize Abby at the very start of the show, which completely takes away the entire shock that happened when Joel died. We had no clue why she was there when the game first came out. But instead, we immediately know that she's hunting for Joel. So as soon as they meet, we know that Joel is done for. They collide, and he saves her, and then it's over. The show softened the blow. They make Ellie crawl over to Joel. Abby just stabs him in the neck. There's not this grotesque beating that happens. And I'm not going to comment on whether you believe that Joel shouldn't have died. I think it was a great aspect for the story. But the way they did it in the show was very, very abrupt. I was just shocked that it was not a one-for-one adaptation when that is the core aspect of the game. And jumping into a little bit of a later problem, I despised what they did with Joel and Ellie's story of how Ellie found out what happened and why Joel decided, to go on that massive killing rampage. We meet this character, Eugene, who was also in Last of Us Part 2, but he was dead before the events of the game happened. He owned that big weed shop, if you remember that whole scene from the game. But in the show, he's married to this therapist, and he gets bit, and Joel decides to kill him after promising that he's going to take him back to his wife. Well, Ellie is very disappointed that Joel did this, and through realizing that, if he can lie about something like this, he can lie to me, that's where she realizes that Joel lied to her, and there was no other immune people, and that he obviously took her from the Fireflies. We then also see Joel and Ellie reconnect, and we have that whole amazing port scene that the Last of Us Part 2 game showed at the very end. But now we get it up front. We show that the relationship could have been repaired if Joel survived. And I think the show's aspect is very much a weaker element to the game. Joel has to clearly spell out that he loves Ellie, and unlike the emotional weight that Troy Baker carries in the game, Pedro Pascal's performance, in my opinion, falls a little flat here. And that pulls us into another big issue, the acting. No one in this series is taking themselves seriously. Ellie isn't saying that Dina's a burden when she finds out that she's pregnant. She's saying, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a dad. She doesn't come across as mature as she did in the game. She still feels like Ellie from Last of Us Part 1. She's a moody teenager instead of this grief-stricken person who wants to go avenge their father figure. There's a lot of these sitcom elements that I didn't enjoy. The game takes its time and shows us how this is affecting everyone. But in the show, Dina seems more compassionate and more willing to go do whatever needs to be done, despite the fact that she's pregnant. People already had a hard time with Ellie because she was mad at Joel, and a lot of people in real life couldn't understand that since Ellie's agency and decisions were taken away from her, being the reason why she was mad at Joel. In the game, we get to see all that aspect, but in the show, we are only left with Bella Ramsey's portrayal, and since she's joking around and having a fun time, I don't see the conflict in her. I don't understand why she's so mad at Joel. And at the tail end of the season, when Abby finally confronts Ellie again, Ellie is saying that she didn't mean to kill these when she very clearly beat Nora to death to find out where Abby was. Craig Mazin, the showrunner of the show, obviously interpreted Ellie as this child, and it clashed with the game's portrayal. Yes, she's still a 19-year-old, but she is an adult now. She's no longer 12 or 13. Now, a moment in the game that people hated was obviously when Ellie and Abby confront each other. We then jump back to day one, and we now play through Abby's perspective. I feel like that was a little bit missed in the finale. People aren't talking about that. They're just talking about how badly they didn't like the entire season. And unfortunately, I think this is actually a detriment to the show, and here's why. You see, in the video game, you're going to, most of the time, keep playing. You're immediately in the Abby levels, and you go through her entire story. Like her or not, that's what you're going to have happen. In the real world, we're now going to have to wait at least 2 years to see Abby's story if you do not know the game. So people are going to forget, they're not going to care, and they're going to say, you know what, I'm dropping this show, and I just don't care anymore. And this is a bold decision in the game, but it's a very flawed gamble in real life, where people don't have the bandwidth, especially with everything always going on in the real world and in their own lives, to sit down and remember what happened. Despite elements that didn't work, I do want to highlight some of the things the TV show did get right. The infected look better than ever. The entire town of Jackson is amazing. I think a lot of the side characters really stood out. Like I mentioned before, Dina, Tommy is absolutely amazing in the show. I hope we get to see a lot more of him in the next season. I can't wait to see what he was up to, and if they have a whole Tommy episode in season 3 of The Last of Us. And honestly, Abby's performance was very, very good. I know she's not buff like she's in the games, but I thought she did a very good job at portraying Abby's rage. In the words of Joel, let's get this over with. This is a flawed but necessary chapter in The Last of Us 2's saga. Its rushed pacing and structural missteps frustrated everyone, including myself. But it did dare to take some risks, but the risks didn't land. I'm torn, because I hope Season 3 is great. This wasn't the worst adaptation I've ever seen, but seeing as I feel like Naughty Dog is literally the best AAA gaming studio we have, I expect them to also produce a great TV show. And the writers of the TV show didn't truly look at the game and say, we need to do this, we need to respect this story. The sheer talent of the cast kept me invested, and I will be back for Season 3. I just feel like Last of Us Season 2 is mirroring its source material in all the wrong ways. It's messy and divisive, but unlike the game, this isn't working. And isn't that what great storytelling is all about? To make sure that you hit the landing? I think it is. So I hope you enjoyed your meal. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.